And there we go. Welcome to Lost in the Dark podcast, everyone. Welcome to the crypt, the Christmas crypt tonight.
Yeah.
And we are here with probably the two most special guests that are ever possible for me personally on this podcast. My parents, Chris and Burton Bargerstock, right here. And look at that background. Look at that background.
Repping it hard.
Outstanding. So yeah, me and Aaron came up with this idea a little while ago to have our parents on this Christmas special and more. Katie's going to be actually on this episode too, and maybe even Grace. But we thought, like, in a world of the pandemic and the COVID, not a lot of people can be with their families during the holidays and everything. We felt it was the perfect time to finally get our family on our podcast, because without you guys, this never happens. Quite frankly, this is kind of crazy. You guys and I know I already told this story in the intro, but
to be honest, I don't remember the intro, a lot of it. So refresh my memory.
That last night. We talked about how like 2 or 3 years ago, you guys got me a Yeti microphone for absolutely no reason at all. It, at the time, seemed like a completely random gift, and now it's turned into this. So that's insane. Can you guys say something? Hello.
Yeah, wait a minute, Aaron, what is that thing you're drinking out of?
I thought you'd ask that because that was kind of weird, right?
Yeah, very strange.
Well, that is from BJ. Drinking horn.
That was his Christmas
Came in
present.
last night.
Drinking horn, very nice.
It's got a whole like stand and stuff with it too. This whole thing, so it like sits up. It's too full right now to do it, but yeah.
Oh my
Very
goodness.
Good, very good.
So where I want to get started is I mean, this is the Christmas special. We got our parents on. So like growing up, what were your as kids, what were your guys like some of your favorite like Christmas traditions and stuff like that?
There
we go.
So we stop fading away.
There we go.
Well, in my family, the uncles and the aunts and folks came by my parents' house on Christmas Eve. And so that really was the tradition. It was everybody piling over on Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve day, there was usually a lot of running around town at the last minute to do things with my dad. My dad worked very long hours and overtime a lot when I was a kid. And so there wasn't a lot of time for him to get a lot of things done. And Christmas Eve was the day to do that. So throw me in the car and we'd run around town and get various things. And that carried on until I was probably in my teens. And then in my later teens, he would go off and do whatever he needed to do or have it done in advance. And there wasn't really a lot for me to do. And I remember sort of 16, 17 years old, sort of getting up in the morning on Christmas Eve and heading to the movies and just watching movies all day and coming home in time for the family to gather.
Favorite? Do you have a favorite like movie that you saw on Christmas Eve ever?
No.
Okay.
Not,
So
not
it was
memorable.
It was just more about going out to the theater.
Yeah, there was a lot going. Yeah, there was a lot going on at the house. There was a lot of getting everything ready, and if I'd already done my part or I wasn't needed, I'd just go find something else to do.
Fair enough.
But Christmas Eve night was great. I mean, everybody would be around and
the best.
Really good times. Everybody was in a great mood. There was always tons and tons of food. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. How about you?
Yeah, there was nothing extraordinary, traditional, or special. It was always special. And you know how small Grandma's house is, and everyone came to our house on Christmas, and we all gathered there and got together, and it was just a house full of people and always tons and tons of presents.
Well, for the record, when I was little, Grandma's house felt a lot bigger than it does now. So
That was
it
like
was-
a couple of places we used to have it at, like we were kind of talking about, like when I was little, we used to like rent out full places to have, because like, big Italian family stuff. So like
Yeah.
we always used to like rent out, like just different places, and just like, and when I was a kid, like all of it used to just seem like so much more massive, and just like, where we were at, it's like, but now just kind of looking at it, it's a little different.
Yeah.
it
Sure.
is. It is. Uh Maja and Faja. I can't believe you guys are on this right now. This is just
Imagine our surprise.
this is blowing my mind.
Great,
This is
great.
it is. It is great. It is great. And it just blows my mind that this is we've gotten to the point where we're like, let's have our family out. Like this is it's so obvious now thinking back on it, but man, this is crazy. So all right. What about like do you have like okay. So mom, you had everybody come over on Christmas Day. Dad, you have everybody come over on Christmas Eve. Now, I as a kid, I remember loving the Christmas Eve parties at Grandma Bargerstocks' house. But I remember it being so much of an actual party, and all the kids would just go downstairs and the adults would stay upstairs. What do you have any like favorite memories from any of those? Like anything that like when I was downstairs as a kid, I wouldn't have been able to see or anything like that?
No, your grandma and I had Christmas toast a lot.
What is Christmas toast? What is that?
A toast.
You take bread and you put it in the toast.
Because when
Like-
you say toast to me, I think of the drink of alcohol.
Yeah. That's correct.
I'm not thinking of buttered bread.
Buttered bread.
So you guys would have a drink, you and Grandma?
Well, yes, Grandma and I had some nice times having some drinks when I joined the Bargerstock family Christmas Eve tradition.
What was your favorite Christmas Eve drink?
Oh, what's my favorite drink?
Margarita.
Yeah.
Okay.
Of course, you're the first one to bring up alcohol.
No, Aaron already talked about his alcohol.
Well, I kind of broke the mold on that a little
Oh
bit.
yeah, that's right. Surprised I was.
Special blessing to Saint Margarita of Chi-Chi's.
That is hilarious, actually, because just so everybody knows, you saw it. Oh no! This is the first one, I think, and I don't know what order these are all going to go in yet, but this right now for everybody watching, this is Christmas Eve's Eve. This is the day before Christmas. So my mom doesn't know what I got her for Christmas yet, and it may or may not have something to do with Chi-Chi's.
Oh.
God, an old Mexican restaurant that doesn't exist anymore. I
Man,
actually talked with somebody about that earlier tonight. It's crazy you bring that up. That's wild. What? Were you about to say something?
I was just gonna say their food was average, but their margaritas and their happy hour was great.
And the memories are forever.
And the memories of all my friends and I going there.
Well, that's what's important, though. Like, something to remember it by.
That is the best. So okay. Another thing I wanted to ask you guys. Hold on one second. Yeah. Do you guys have any like? I know I'm kind of Do you guys have any favorite like Christmas? Like, is there like a movie or music that you guys listen to every year, to get you outside? Besides the Christmas Story, which of course we watch. You'll shut your eye out every year. But like besides that, do you guys have your own personal stuff that I don't know gets you into the Christmas spirit?
I think I don't have any particular movie, but your dad and I were usually up very, very late Christmas Eve usually we could get everything done except for the wrapping. And so your dad and I would spend Christmas Eve night to the wee hours in the morning, and we'd have the television on. Usually it was A Wonderful Life, but sometimes it was other Christmas, old time Christmas movies we would watch on Turner Classic Channel, I think. And we would be watching those movies and wrapping presents. Your presents.
And for me, what so when I was younger, it was sort of a lot of the traditional standard Christmas music and stuff. But when I got older, I really, 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 really loved the Bare Naked Ladies, Bare Naked for the Holidays album. In fact, I was playing it here tonight 2 or 3 times. I just have a great spirit in that record, and I enjoy it.
And then Darlene Love Song.
And oh gosh, how could I forget that? So David Letterman used to have Darlene Love on his show, the last show he would do before Christmas each year. And he would end the show with her singing her pop sensation hit, Merry Christmas, Baby Come Home. And if you don't know the song, it's worth looking up. Mariah Carey covered it a few years ago. Due respect to Mariah, listen to Darlene Love's version.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
I don't know that one. That's actually one. You guys know me. I just Trans-Siberian Orchestra. Every time.
I always kind of liked what we were talking about this earlier. I always kind of preferred like the more like classic Christmas songs anyway, because any of the other like remakes, it's like a cover of the original kind of a thing, and it's just like, I don't know, it's just kind of cool to hear like just some the old school.
Yeah, that song is great. And so the story, Darlene Love recorded this thing probably originally in the 60s or something. And a long time ago. And I don't know what it was about that song for David Letterman, but he absolutely loved it. And he had her on every year to do that song. And the last year, you could look it up on YouTube, but if you look up the last year that he was on the air, they recorded it, and it is a showstopper. She's up on top of the organ singing. They've got snow coming down in the studio. It's fantastic.
Everybody, I'm definitely gonna check that one out. That sounds awesome.
I don't think I've seen that.
Speaking, I haven't either. Speaking of music, let's get into this a little bit. Now neither of you are into what I would describe as hard rock or heavy metal. Yet you had a son that it's everything to me. However, there are two things. Specific, like, Dad, you got me into 2 bands in particular, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers and Kiss. Those were some of my what?
Didn't Kiss do a Christmas album at one point?
We don't talk about that. We don't talk about that.
Oh, okay.
No. They did a. I think they did a Christmas special, like on TV or something like that. Yeah, I don't think it was an album.
That's right.
But you got me into both of them. But also, I will never forget this. I have no idea when it was. But you once said something. You probably don't even remember this. You once said something that like I will never forget, and it was my mom had said something about like she does like you had said something about like you don't understand why I listen to that crazy music or something like that, and so you made some kind of comment. I don't know what it was, but then Dad goes, well, he hears it differently, like he hears it differently than you do. And I'll never forget. It was just so casual and so like nonchalant over like the dinner table or something, some random night. I don't know, but I will never forget you saying that, because I was like, oh, he gets it. He actually gets it. Like I do hear it differently than you guys do. And so I wanted to ask about, and of course I already know this, but I wanted to ask you guys about both of your like musical backgrounds. Like what kind of music were you into early on? I know, Dad, you saw Kiss play Detroit Rock City in Detroit. You saw that show actually. And that's one of the most, they made a movie about that. Like that's one of the most legendary shows in history. So I wanted to ask you guys, like, what kind of music did you listen to growing up?
Oh, this is good. You really want to go there?
Oh yeah,
We went there earlier, so
You want
I'm
this in the-
curious too.
that's what this show is about.
Yeah. What you got?
I'll start because mine will be brief. BJ, the only commonality we have about music is that we're both loyal. So my music tastes are probably as extremely different than yours as can be. So I'm loyal to the music that I listen to, and you know what kind of music I listen to.
Well, give me some bands.
I don't know bands or songs even or artists. Your dad has a running joke with me that anytime something comes on the radio, he says, "I'll give you a quarter if you can name the artist or you can name the band," or something like that. And
I grew up on that game.
I know.
Yeah.
I think I was successful one time.
It's not much of a game. There was one song in particular that was a big pop hit when we were teenagers, and the song is "Baby Come Back." And the band, it was a one-hit wonder song. The band was Player, and nobody remembers that. But you could do this with so many songs because there are so many really, there are some songs that are so great that if you were a one-hit wonder and you could claim that one song, that song's good enough for it.
Oh yeah.
My career's done. I got that one song. That's where I want to be. And I'm sure that the musicians in the group Player don't regret that song.
No.
Probably bought him a couple houses, honestly. Like, especially for that time.
I listen to the same kind of music since I was a teenager to now, the same as you.
That's really actually like the specific word you just used, loyal. That's really interesting that you say that, because that's there have been a lot of studies recently on music and especially heavy music and stuff like that. It's probably just because it's the pages I follow on social media, but they found that like hard rock and heavy metal people that are fans of that are the most loyal fan base that exists. We will go back and listen to the stuff over and over and over and over. We will buy the albums and all that stuff, and all, fans of most other genres aren't nearly as loyal as we are. So that is, while we might not like the same kind of music, that maybe I never knew that. I never knew that about you. So maybe that's where I get it from. That's crazy. What about you, Pops?
He knows a lot about music.
No,
not about heavy metal.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I grew up. I liked pop music when I was a kid, and then rock. It was very popular in Detroit in the 70s. It was very popular to be on record as hating disco. They had like record burning things. And frankly, I view record burning the same way I view book burning.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense. What are you trying to accomplish with that?
Yeah. I agree with that.
But I like a lot of different kinds of music. You mentioned Kiss. It was one of the first concerts I ever went to.
Where?
Where?
Yes.
I try to remember this a lot, and what I want to say is, and I think this is wrong, but for some reason I want to say it was Olympia. Now you don't remember Olympia?
No.
Olympia is where the Red Wings played back in the day.
Oh.
Before the Joe.
Dang.
But I could be wrong. It was either Olympia or Cobo. It was one or the other.
I was gonna say I remember you telling me it was Cobo.
Might have been Cobo. Might have been. Getting old, memories going. But there's a lot of stuff. I find that, so I think loyalty is fine. I guess I take a different perspective on it. I think that you can like I think folks can like a certain kind of music, and if there's growth in that form of music, you can keep coming back to it because there's something more to be said, if you will, right?
Yes.
There's
Yeah.
more that can be said with that form, whatever that form is, and you can return to it. I'm much less loyal to forms than I am to both lyrics that catch my attention, and sometimes there's just nostalgic things. So I'll give you an example. You mentioned Tom Petty. I love Tom Petty. You'll remember as a child, if there was one rule we had in the car, if you're flipping through the stations looking for something to listen to and Tom Petty came on, the hand comes off the radio. We listen to Tom Petty.
Oh,
Yes.
that's awesome. That's
But
awesome.
I like a lot of this, and when we went to the Rock Hall of Fame, I don't know if you remember this, but they had Tom Petty was the big exhibit that year.
Yes.
We were there. But I like a lot of the songwriters. I love listening to Bob Dylan. His lyrics are incredible. I'm a huge fan of Leonard Cohen. Everybody knows the song Hallelujah. Leonard Cohen wrote so much really good stuff. If you want to hear a really good song right now, you look up on YouTube his song Democracy.
Okay.
Really, really good stuff. Just really kind of strong material. I really enjoyed that. But then, I don't want to make it sound like I'm that guy, the one who's like, oh, it's all got to be sort of this intellectual poetry stuff, because there's some music that I just like because I love the sound of it. There's a song by a 60s group called The Association. The title of the song is Windy. It's a total bubblegum pop song. But when that song comes on, I'm transported to the backseat of my dad's car. It's like I'm instantly there. That song just brings back so much memory and feeling. And it's not, no one's going to be giving the association the Nobel Prize in Literature. But the song was good. Then there's a bunch of stuff that's weird that I liked. I liked Meatloaf when Meatloaf came out. Jim Steinman is the songwriter. He wrote so many songs that are heavy, thick orchestration, like you like Trans-Siberian Orchestra. It's that kind of really thick, heavy orchestral rock music. I like that. It's heavy though, and so I can't listen to too much of it before I need something lighter to sort of shift to. But that's, the very first concert, by the way, that I ever went to with your mother, we were kids. How old do you suppose?
I was 13 or 14.
She was like 13 or 14. I lived around the corner. We had a mutual friend who was one of your mom's neighbors, a guy named Ray. And Ray was going on a date, and he was going to double date to a concert, and the other couple backed out. So he had 2 extra tickets. Your mom lived across the street from Ray, and he knew me. I bought a car from him years later, but at that point he just knew me. And we didn't, we knew each other a little bit. We didn't know each other very much, but we went to this concert together. And so it was one of the first experiences we were at.
What was the concert?
Well, you'd think people who, listen to Bob Dylan and the concert was the Village
Spice
People.
Girls.
We got
Village People.
we got free tickets.
YMCA. Hey.
That's awesome.
YMCA. Are you
It was
kidding
so-
me?
No, it's
so much
fantastic. We had a
fun.
great time.
Was it was it after they released YMCA?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh
Yeah,
my
they were
God.
big stars. They were the top of the world. They were,
Oh my God.
I was
They were
gonna
big
say, I bet that was a party. Like,
Yeah.
can you imagine
We
that?
saw it. When I was in college, they used to have a thing at MSU in the spring where they would bring up and coming. They would have like a day of music, and then they don't do this anymore. They'd have a day of music, and they would try to bring onto campus an up and coming performer. And when I was like a freshman in college, they had Huey Lewis on the News, who nobody had ever heard of.
Hey,
What?
They're like, yeah, they're playing across the street from my dorm. It was great.
Yeah.
Hang on. Didn't they used to have, did you ever go to a concert at like what was it? The damn
Auditorium?
yeah, like the thing that's like sort of semi across the street from the Breslin Center. It's like an old
Oh,
Dem Hall?
gymnasium building.
Dem Hall?
Maybe.
Yeah.
But I know
Or-
they used to have concerts there. I know that like Aerosmith played there and stuff.
Yeah, I never saw any of that there.
Okay.
But
What was
Lots
the?
of big bands.
Wasn't there the Silver Dollar there? I feel like in Lansing, a bunch of bands used to come
Silver
through.
Dollar, yeah, the Silver Dollar Saloon was down the streets. No, not there
Yeah.
anymore.
Did
And
you ever
Max
go?
Bar had bands too, local bands.
Oh yeah, Max Bar.
Seriously, you
He was
just brought
cool.
up Max Bar. Aaron's dad has played Max Bar.
Oh,
Yeah.
are your parents the same age as us, Aaron? We probably listened to them when we were younger.
Maybe.
What?
Maybe.
Oh my God. Oh my God. What if you guys that would be insane if we found out, if we could actually put it together that you guys saw Aaron's dad play live at Max Bar once. That would, I'd shit my pants. That would be
I don't know. Does the name Geneva ring a bell?
Mm-mm.
No?
No.
Okay. That's, as far as I know, that's the only like band
In-
name they stuck with. So
Well, in college, did you guys ever go to shows at Max?
Yeah, we went to. Well, I did.
Yeah, not as much. A little bit, not as much. I went to some of the other bars, but not so much for live music. First of all, when I was in college, I had no money. I mean, I was lucky to be able to be at college.
Right.
And so there wasn't a lot of, there wasn't like a lot of extra cash flowing around to go do things like that for me anyway.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
That's
But had a great time anyway. We just did a lot of other kinds of things. A big night out on the town for your mother and I when we were in college. So for those of you who don't know, we went to college at the same time. And a big night out in college would be us walking from Case Hall downtown to the old Ella's Teco, which was next door to Campbell's Red Door on MAC. And it was a basement restaurant. The entire restaurant was in a basement. And you'd stand in line to get into the place because it wasn't that large and they couldn't have too many people in there. And it was like $2.50 for a burrito.
Super cheap.
We could go there for like $7-8 and have like a night out.
dang.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Where was it? Is it like where Pinball Pizza is now or something? Where?
No. It's not on the backside of the building. It's entirely on MAC.
Mm-hmm.
And there's something there still. There's an office or something there.
Yeah.
But you walk in the door and it's literally a straight downstairs thing. And the restaurant was very dark. It was not terribly well lit. And this is Michigan, so there's snow or rain almost all the time. So everybody would come in, their shoes would be soaked. They go down there, the floor was kind of greasy. It was a
dive.
But loved the burritos, man. and also they had free chips, which was a real draw.
Yeah.
So you could put there any chips.
That's
Tell them
key.
about when we went to Billy Joel. That's another music.
Oh,
story.
yeah,
That's our second concert, or no? We had the Beach Boys in between in high school.
Probably.
Yeah.
We went one time in college. A bunch of our friends got some money together and we drove down. How many of us were there? There must have been like 12 of us.
Yeah, we got
Packed into this van in the middle of winter to go down to Detroit to Joe Louis.
I think, yeah.
Joe Louis Arena to see Billy Joel in concert.
Wow.
And it was a ride. The van we were in had an issue with its back door. The back door couldn't fully close. So it's freezing cold. This is like February or something. It's freezing cold. We can't get the whole thing closed. Everybody's in there huddled together. It was crazy. It was quite a memorable night.
We drove all the way to Detroit from East Lansing. Saw the concert, had a great time at the concert.
Oh, that is absolutely something that would still happen.
Yeah, how have I never heard that story? What the hell? Like, I feel like I've done that. Like that. It's so insane.
You get the bungee cord out and all that.
Yeah.
Together.
Yeah. That's exactly what you do.
Didn't
Rubber bands.
I remember there was a couple of shows where you at least had like tires go out or like you had there was something ridiculous happen that
One time me and Preston on the way to the intersection in Grand Rapids, Michigan, had a tire blowout. We were going to see Children of Bodom. And we had just driven through a construction zone and there was like a nail or something stuck in the tire. We had to pull over, switch that shit out and get to the concert. Like it was, yeah. definitely.
Your dedication to making the show is
Oh,
is really quite impressive.
it
Quite
knows no
impressive.
bounds. It like
No God can stop me from getting to the show.
It was a nail.
Nope. But
yeah.
it did not stop me. It did not stop me. We made it. We trained. We switched that tire out like a damn NASCAR team. Like it was nuts. It was nuts. Wow, that's insane. Dad, did you ever see Tom Petty live?
Yes.
Where?
Pine Knob. Well, DTE they call it now.
Pine Knob. No, I call it Pine Knob.
Yeah, it would have been about. I've thought about this when he passed away a few years ago.
Yeah.
It was during a time. It was after college. It was probably around 1988 or 87, something like that. No, it would have been
No,
87.
some or later.
Yeah,
Hmm.
because I was so after college, I went to law school and I met up with a friend from college who had moved from Iron Mountain, Michigan to Metro Detroit with a buddy of his who grew up in Inkster. And then a couple of us, we got together and we would go do nonsense. And the friend, his name was Mike, and Mike said, hey, I want to go see this concert. You want to go? And I wasn't, at the time, I wouldn't say I was any kind of huge fan of Tom Petty.
Really?
But it's like, I sort of know him from the radio. But so I mainly went because this buddy asked me to go, and I didn't want, but we've been trying to find something to do. Man alive, it remains the best concert I ever saw. It was the best, and I went to see Kiss, and I have to tell you, Tom Petty was amazing. He was really, really something.
So seeing him live changed the game for you.
It did. It did. It was a very different kind of experience. And also, I don't know if you've had this experience where you go to a show. See the shows you go to, you're like studied about this stuff. You like know everything about these groups when you go. So I go to see Tom Petty, and it's like Tom Petty had been around for a while. This was the 80s. He'd been around for a while, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not that I didn't know him. I had friends who were friends of mine from high school who were fans. But what I didn't realize till I got to Pine Knob was how productive, the number of songs that were like songs that you'd hear on the radio every 5 minutes that came out of this guy. It was like, oh my God. And there's another one, and there's another one. You didn't have to do any homework. You could walk in and you knew you'd already heard a lot of this stuff. Now he brought in his new stuff. And also he wasn't afraid to talk politics from the stage, and he was very left wing. And so he was sort of going after the right, from the stage during the show. And it was cool. I loved it.
For me, Tom Petty is one of the ones on the list that I will, of course, at this point never get to see. But he played Pine Knob just a couple months before his passing, I believe. And I should have gone to that show. That's one of the biggest shows I regret never going to. But don't get it twisted, Pops. I do have many experiences where, because yes, a lot of these bands I'm super into, I'm super studied about, I know everything about them. It's my thing. But also when I go to like the big festivals, there's a lot of bands there that I don't know that I know. You know what I mean? So I definitely have had that very same experience of like, holy cow, like all these bands, like this band is playing a bunch of songs that I know, and I didn't realize it was all them,
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
I have the same response to like Creedence Clearwater Revival.
Oh!
Like anytime I hear like get going down like a roll with them, it's like, oh hey, I know that song too. Like I didn't know they wrote this one, or like it's kind of even like between the two of them really.
Put a candle in the window.
Well, I got to tell you about CCR. So
Love
in 1977, my dad bought a station wagon and took a month off work. Well, I think it was more like 6 weeks. And my family of 6 hopped into the station wagon and drove from Detroit to San Francisco and back. It was the epic family vacation of my family's life. And when we went on this trip, we had this was the time of the 8-track tape,
Mm.
and we had we had other tapes, but the three that got played the most, of the three that got played the most, two of them were Creedence Clearwater Revival, and the third was Fleetwood Mac's Rumors. And those
Gold.
things, you just played them over and over and over. There was a time when I knew every word to every song on all three of those.
Oh my God. That's amazing. Okay. Well, since you brought it up, what's your favorite memory from that trip? Like, cause okay, real quick, just so everybody knows, I of course known about this trip my whole life. And at one point in time, it was halfway, it was like halfway redone with my grandma and grandpa Bargerstock and me and Preston, and that was it. And everybody watching this knows Preston, co-founder of this show. Him and I went from Taylor, Michigan to what's the farthest we went? Probably Devil's
Tower.
Thank you. Devil's Tower, Wyoming. We went through South Dakota, the Badlands, the Black Hills, saw the Corn Palace, Jackalopes. What was the other thing? Oh, Mount Rushmore, of course. Yeah, Mount Rushmore, and then Devil's Tower, and then we came back. And that, it's not like quite halfway, but that to this day is the farthest west I've ever been. To this day.
You gotta do something about that.
Yes, I do. You're right. And yeah, that is one of the greatest trips I have ever taken to this day. What is some of your favorite memories from going on that vacation?
Well, I have three younger brothers, so it was all boys, my mom and dad in this car, and as you can imagine,
Uncle Dave, Tom, and Jason.
Yeah.
And how old was Uncle Jason at this point?
3.
Oh, so you had a little baby.
Yeah, and he got a really bad toothache when we were in Las Vegas. We were on the way home, so the way out there was a northerly route. The way back was a southerly route.
Okay.
Because we were trying to take in on the way out there, South Dakota and Wyoming and Utah and Nevada, and then on the way back it was like New Mexico and Arizona and Texas. Wow. We wanted to go to Texas, and then we came up through Missouri and came back up to Michigan that way.
Oh wow!
When we were in Las Vegas, the morning we were in Las Vegas, he had a toothache, and that kid was screaming, and it was like 102 degrees outside at 9 a.m. Las Vegas is crazy hot.
Desert.
I remember that. I remember my dad used to wear these. He always wore these black leather boots. He loved black leather boots with a zipper on the side. That's what his most common shoe was back in the day. And that's a perfectly fine shoe unless you're in the Badlands of South Dakota. We went back to the hotel room after one day. We drive, then you get out and you walk around and do stuff. Got back to the hotel room, took those boots off, and he had like burns on his feet from the sun and stuff that had come through. I remember the city of San Francisco. I remember Mount Rushmore. I really loved Jackson Hole, Wyoming. I thought that was a really beautiful place. I remember the Grand Canyon. I don't think I appreciated it as much when I was that age as I did later in life when I had a chance to fly over it, going out west on a trip. That was the summer, 1977 was the summer the first Star Wars movie was released. And I had the paper, I knew it was coming. I had the paperback book with me. I read the novel on the way out there. I was probably an enormous pain in the butt to my parents because I made it really clear my whole reason to go to California was to see that movie. We haven't seen it anywhere, but we're going to California. We're going to see it in California. So I remember when you were a little kid and we went to the Dells in Wisconsin. Oh, no, wasn't the Dells.
It was Stratford.
Manitowoc. Well, that too. Stratford too. Went to Manitowoc, Wisconsin on a boat ferry with your Uncle Larry and Aunt Lorraine. And
On
all
the-
you could talk about was Aliens versus Predators because that movie was out and you had to see it. And so I was kind of like that a little bit on that trip in 1977. I was going to see Star Wars no matter what happened. So
Was it on the Badger?
Yes.
you were on the Badger. But your mother's right. I shouldn't pick on that story because we went to Stratford to see Shakespearean plays, and
And to bring culture to your life.
you had to see Star Wars: The Phantom Menace. You were nuts. We had to go to the movies
Yeah.
one night.
In between the Shakespeare plays, we had to go to the movies to see Star Wars.
That
Well,
that sounds about right. That's
nobody can blame me for that. That is Shakespeare's modern day Shakespearean.
Phantom Menace wasn't that good. So
Shut your mouth. You shut your mouth.
Middle-chlorians? What?
Darth Maul.
Yeah, I'll get in
Hey,
to my
midichlorians suck. Jar Jar Binks sucked, but Darth Maul makes up for it all.
yeah, there was that. I remember when that was like one of the first Star Wars movies I saw, but it's still probably like the least favorite of mine.
It's okay. Well, okay. No. I can still say this. I can actually still say this to this day. Still the greatest lightsaber battle of all time. Of all time is Darth Maul versus Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon. What's your favorite?
It would have been Episode 3, the concluding battle between Anakin and Obi-Wan, where Obi-Wan handed Anakin his buttocks.
Yeah.
No way.
Do you remember what the clock time was in that fight? It's like a third of the movie was that one fight scene.
Like,
Yeah.
okay. Now I do want to add a disclaimer to this. I do want to add a disclaimer because while I do think the Phantom Menace has the greatest lightsaber battle of all time, it is not the greatest lightsaber scene of all time. There's a difference between a lightsaber battle because there's people fighting with lightsabers and then someone with a lightsaber just mowing through people. We got Rogue One with Darth Vader at the end.
Yeah.
Oh.
To this one of the most amazing things I've ever seen. And then I because I know nobody else on this screen has seen it yet. The ending of season 2 of Mandalorian has one of the greatest lightsaber scenes in the history of lightsabers.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of Mandalorian. I'm gonna get Disney Plus going here.
You have to. You absolutely have. It is so worth it for the 2 seasons, the 16 episodes. That's all there is of that show. Nothing but genius, beautiful gold. And the way it ends, I was screaming. I was actually screaming at the TV, and I watched it twice. And the second time, when I knew what was going to happen, I was still screaming. Like,
sounds about right. Yeah. But wait a minute. Before we leave it, though, we shouldn't forget, and it was it was a stunning moment. I can't remember which film it was, but it was the first time we'd seen Yoda in a lightsaber fight.
Revenge of the Sith, episode 3.
When he's leaping up and spinning in the air and all this stuff.
Genius against what was it? Sidious. Yeah, that was absolutely wonderful. Yeah, that is a great one too. That is one that's not talked about enough. That's a very good point. So you bring up, so did you see Star Wars in California?
Yes.
Oh my God. Do you remember what the theater was called or what city it was in or anything?
No, it would have been near San Francisco. I don't think we were in the city proper. Okay. We were in whatever town my aunt and uncle lived in, and I can't remember the name of it right now.
Hang on.
We got a chance to see it.
Hang on. You had relatives out there?
Yeah.
Uncle Steve.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, my mom's brother, Uncle Steve, and his wife, Aunt Chris. They lived in San Francisco. That was the whole reason we were going there, was to see them.
I had no idea about that because my whole life they lived in Ohio or something?
West Virginia.
West Virginia. Yeah. All right. Wow.
Yeah, they had a big life out there. They never had kids, and they both worked, and he was an auto mechanic. and cost of living in Northern California, even back then, is very high. And so
I believe that.
my uncle got to a point where he was having some heart issues, and the doctor said, "You've got to settle down. You got to slow it way down." And so they basically cashed out everything they had in California and relocated in Parkersburg, West Virginia. It turns out having a bunch of California money goes a long way in West Virginia, and they were able to have a beautiful house and other things there. And then eventually they moved on to Southern Ohio, right across the border from West Virginia. And then my aunt passed away, and then Uncle Steve died a few years back.
Yeah.
In fact, it was just his birthday. His birthday was the same day as your Uncle David's birthday.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And then it was my sister, your daughter's Grace's birthday yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Certainly was.
Yes,
Yes,
it was.
What a day.
Because once again, we are recording this on Christmas Eve's Eve.
Evie.
So her birthday is she spent her 19th birthday on December 22nd. What was that picture you posted earlier? What was she doing?
So the picture was from an article from a newspaper in Montana
Shut up.
that does a whole story about the work her team did for Habitat for Humanity building houses, and they interviewed Grace. So if you should click through and take a look at it, because your sister's quoted throughout the article.
It's not a picture of her. That's somebody else on her team or the other team.
Oh, I thought it
Yeah,
was
it's
her,
not-
but she's quoted
no.
in the article. I didn't know there was an article. That's it. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, she
Well-
spent her 19th birthday behind the wheel, driving back to California from the Montana work.
That's awesome. That's
Not
crazy.
many people I could say that.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah. Not many people at all. Wow.
Well, I got a question.
Yeah.
Since we're sitting here, like, what's your guys' like favorite like family like tradition as far as Christmas goes, or like holidays and stuff?
Oh.
Like, either something you used to do, or like just something that, you know.
I don't have it. No.
Cookies.
My favorite.
Well, what happened was when we got married. So again, my family did Christmas Eve, her family did Christmas Day.
Mhm.
When we got married, that was a very good balance. We didn't, we all went over to my parents' house one night. We went over to her folks' house.
And it was nice. They were right around the block from each other.
Yeah,
Literally.
we grew up right in the block from each other.
Yeah. So
Perfect.
And then over time, everybody grew up. All the siblings grew up. I have 3 siblings. She has 3 siblings. They have families. Everything spreads. We take turns. So Christmas Eve is at our house when it's our turn, or it's at one of my brother's houses. Christmas Day has been at her brother's house usually.
Since Grandpa Legacy passed, at least. Yeah.
Yeah.
Since your grandfather passed.
It was about
This year,
about
of
12
course,
years ago now,
yeah.
roughly.
This year with the pandemic, we're not doing that. Everybody's gonna stay in place and be safe, and
We're zooming.
we will emerge out of this thing in July and have a huge barbecue or something. But right now it's sort of hopping. In terms of tradition, though, I mean, I think that the idea of still doing a big thing on Christmas Eve is still important to us. We're feeling a certain amount of pain not being able to gather. It doesn't feel right not being able to gather this year.
That is something I wanted to ask you about specifically, is like, because I know like this whole year has been insane. And I know you guys are you're my parents, so you only like, there's a certain relationship there, and you guys only like, show me a certain side of things. But I wanted to ask like for real, for you guys, what does it feel like not being able to do the normal big gathering? Because I know how it feels for me. I've expressed it to you. I hate it.
you hate any
Yeah, you're right. So
there's no one in the world who hates change like you do, son.
I know. But I want to know, like, how has the pandemic coming into the holidays, how's it affected you guys? Like, how are you guys feeling? Seriously.
I'm not feeling very holiday-ish. So it's just, I mean, I'm trying, and we're trying to be festive. I'm wearing my Christmas sweater. We did the little Christmas jaunts last weekend.
My sweater.
See my little.
There you go.
But yeah, it's gonna be. I mean, tomorrow will be nice because you'll be here and Katie will be here, but Grace won't. So
that is gonna be hard.
yeah,
That is gonna be hard for all of us.
Kind of feel the same way, really. Like, trying to get into it as much as possible and just like, enjoying it for what it is. But at the same time, like, there's that part of it where it's like, man, like, kind of wish we could get together and like, because we did it for Thanksgiving, we did it for, the whole Zoom thing and stuff. And it's, I definitely, I cherish that. And I feel like that's something that's definitely worth, as far as like keeping everything together. But there's a certain point where you just it's just not quite the same and stuff. And like, I guess like within the last week or so, like I've really kind of gotten a little more into like the spirit of things, I guess, just because of everything that's been going on. So
yeah,
it's been a little tough this year.
Dad and I had to go to the store to buy one thing, and we went to Macy's a couple weeks ago, and I think we were the only person in the store.
It was like post-apocalyptic Macy's.
Yeah.
It was like it looked like they maybe a quarter of the products weren't there.
Yeah.
Wow.
They were like a handful of people milling about. I don't even think they had all the lights on inside the place. It was weird.
And then so that kind of sets your mood, and you're used to first of all, when you're in the hustle and bustle all those years, you're like, oh my God, this hustle and bustle is crazy. It's crazy. But it was part of the tradition. It's part of Christmas. And so you get used to it, and you see everybody else being happy about the holidays. And so that isn't there this year. I had to go to Meijer tonight, and there was quite a few people there, more people there than I've seen since March.
Oh wow.
So that was kind of nice that people were buying. I just had to buy a few things, but they were there was a lot of people there buying a lot of Christmas stuff, and a little bit of the hustle and bustle. So that kind of made me think about that, and and everybody was being nice to each other and helping each other out, and everybody was wearing masks.
I'll tell you what I think is going to be harder. I actually think New Year's Eve is going to be really hard this year.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I could agree.
A lot of people lost family and friends.
Yeah. But why do you think New Year's Eve is gonna be harder though, outside of that?
You ever listen to Auld Lang Syne, the song?
No.
Should old acquaintance be forgot? It's a very I mean it's a sort of taking the moment and reflecting on the people who are not around anymore. And there's a particular moment, when that happens, and you sort of look back. Now, I think the thing that will, I hope, make that night palatable is the hopefulness, right? So we've got some stuff coming in this coming year that maybe is going to help. And so that's the thing I think you have to take away from it. But I do think I have a lot of friends who've lost family to this thing.
Me too. Yeah.
And I think Christmas is hard on them, but we're all sort of trying to figure out how to make the best of it. There's something different about New Year's too.
It's also.
Yeah, it's just a different kind of thing. Anyway, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know, but I've been thinking about that. I think Christmas is going to take a little bit of work, but we'll muddle through it. We'll get through it.
Oh, we're not gonna muddle through anything.
No, we're
Dan.
not, because we have plenty of food, BJ.
I'm bringing the party. Okay, I'm gonna be so gigantic tomorrow. You guys aren't even gonna notice nobody else is there. It's gonna be nuts. So buckle up. Buckle up.
I've heard some stories about some family parties and stuff, as far as like him, like the one year he put it together and everybody else is like, nah, like we'll just do something else or whatever. Like I don't know if that's true or not, but I have heard some. It sounds like you guys
We know how to party, bro. I'm sitting here with Ozzy right now. It's Ozzy Osbourne, just in case you guys didn't know.
We know.
I wish he had a Santa. I wish he had a
We're not
Santa.
that old.
I wish he had a Santa hat on. But I promise, yeah, Katie and I are gonna be there with bells on, and it's going to be amazing. And I'm gonna get everybody on Zoom. We're gonna make this the best COVID Christmas anybody's ever had. So that's 100%. We're bringing the thunder. I promise.
By the way, before I leave this, because I'll forget it in a second. I was thinking about your band.
Yeah.
Wait, whose band? Whose band?
I was thinking about
No,
your band, son.
Your old
Mine?
man.
Your old
Vaccination?
band. And I was thinking 2021 would be a good year for vaccination.
I mean,
Not wrong, man. That's pretty fitting, honestly.
I mean, we could, like, Aaron is now in vaccination, so
I
we
was
could-
recruited somehow.
yeah, we could record a COVID song. Oh my God, Aaron, a COVID Christmas song.
That, that kind of.
Who else has done that?
Like,
Nobody else has done that.
Not the band.
Yeah, there might be a
Vaccination.
reason for that.
Yeah, because no one's creative enough. We could. Oh, wheels are already turning. Wheels are turning. That's brilliant. But God, believe it or not, I've already kept you guys for we've been on for almost an hour. It does not feel like that to me at all. And I know it's getting close to your bedtimes.
It is not. I have to wrap somebody's gifts. Maybe I'll return them instead.
Hey.
Take that.
Close to my bedtime.
What? 9 times out of 10, when I come over at 9 p.m., y'all are on the couch watching Hallmark, half asleep. So,
That's not bedtime.
I love you guys so much.
Oh,
All right. So I've kept you for almost an hour already. This is going to be Aaron. This is going to be such a gigantic This is going to be like a 4-hour special. After all said and done.
By the time, yeah.
It's going to be insane.
Because we did what was it? At least maybe an hour of just filler stuff last night.
Yep.
And each segment was like
30 minutes long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was intentional or not, but that's what ended up happening.
But that's how it came out, and it's perfect. But I do have I do have some final questions I want to round it out on. Okay, so I already asked you. Wait, did you guys answer the favorite Christmas movies and music question?
yeah.
Did both
Mhm.
both of you? Okay.
That was kind of early on.
And then traditions, yeah, okay, yeah. I just wanted to make sure everybody answered that. And I wasn't forgetting anything. All right then. Yeah, I've literally asked you everything on my list here, except for one thing. Aaron, you know what it is.
Oh, it's my favorite question.
There was one question.
Because it always gets a different response. So it's
Yes,
great.
it does. And
Wait. Time out.
Okay.
Before you ask a question, before we leave to this final question, I just want to float two things, two images before we go to that question. So I had the privilege of Aaron knowing your friend here at every stage of his life. And I don't know if he's ever told you about Ho Ho. Have you ever heard of Ho Ho?
No.
For the record, this was something I forgot about, and I meant to tell you guys, embarrass this shit out of me. So please go ahead.
So Ho Ho was a hard plastic Santa Claus that was 5 feet tall.
5 feet.
5 feet tall. You put it on your front lawn. It had a light in it. It lit up. It's Santa.
Big motherfucker.
Burton loved Ho Ho. He loved seeing it. He could not see it enough. It was sort of the beginning of the season for him, and it was his best friend ever. So that's one thing to remember. And then the other thing that I want to mention briefly.
Oh wait.
You didn't
You got-
mention it.
You did
You got
forget.
like pictures of this? Is there like?
Oh yes. And you did forget the fact that I used to bring it into bed and sleep with it.
Take a nap with it.
I wasn't sure how far you want me to go with the story.
Go all the way. All the way.
There were times when we couldn't get him to take a nap or sleep unless that thing was in the house.
Aw.
A 5 foot tall plastic Santa that was this big around.
Oh yeah, you couldn't even put your arms around it. It was so big. So that was one thing, and then the other thing was, of course, one of the most legendary Christmas gifts he ever got was a toy called Big Rex.
Mm.
And Big Rex was a look at him. It was a plastic dinosaur slash god. You know, you think that maybe they couldn't call it Godzilla for licensing reasons, but maybe they meant it.
Yes.
And it had batteries and it walked. And here was the kicker: its eyes lit up red and it would smoke. It would breathe smoke.
Oh.
He loved that thing.
Greatest toy ever.
Was it this thing?
Yeah.
Is that what
Big Rex. That's Big Rex. Right there.
And Aaron, the song, the caveat, the topper of the cake to that story is the fact that 1, 2, 3 years ago, something like that, my dad found one in perfect working, because that was the thing about it. It was super fragile and it would break super easy. So I got them every year, but their legs were always broken off and their arms were always broken off and stuff like that. I swear to God, my father found one for me like just a few years ago, brand new in the box. I have it, perfect working condition to this day. Just
That's
a few
awesome.
years ago, as an adult, he got me a Big Rex, and it's possibly the greatest Christmas present I've ever gotten in my life. It means everything to me. That is my entire childhood. That is the best. Swear
See,
to
when
God.
DJ Greg, you gotta ask a question because I gotta take Mia out.
Okay, let me see her on camera.
Come here, Mia.
Oh, Mia. That's my baby right there, Mia. We're gonna play so much tomorrow. It's gonna blow your mind. Yeah.
Just a minute. DJ's gonna ask one more question.
One last question.
One last question. Here we go. The final question I always ask every new guest on the podcast, and you guys are definitely coming back because this was solid gold.
Yeah, this is fun. This whole episode, for the record, has been awesome. Like,
this is going to be possibly the greatest episode we've ever done. You guys know how much I love the world of the paranormal. I always have the I want to believe poster up behind me, and I know you guys have some stories for me. Please tell me, have you ever had an experience in your life that you would describe as paranormal? And I know you do.
No.
Yeah. What? Mom? Yes, you do.
That wasn't quite the response, I think.
No.
Or at least your mom does.
Yo, that's her experience.
That's her story.
Not
Tell
mine.
that story.
No, it's her story.
I
It's
suggest you
not
get
mine.
grandma on.
Well, yeah, I definitely have to get Grandma Megacy and Grandma Bargerstock on without question.
Yeah.
But
No, I don't
not
have any-
seriously, nothing.
No.
You never saw, you never heard a footstep. You never saw anything in the sky. You never saw anything in the woods. Nothing. Seriously. You never had any weird experiences in your entire life.
I've had tons of weird experiences in my entire life, but not that I would classify as paranormal. No. So I gotta take Mia now. Love you.
All right. All right. Thank you, Mom. Thank you, Mom. I love you so much. I'll see you tomorrow. Really?
Okay.
That blows my mind. That actually blows my mind. Like I thought you guys would have. I really did.
Well, there's an old story. There's an old story in my family that I'm gonna buy. You know, I heard this when I was a kid, and it was from my mom's side of the family. And when I brought it up to my mom one day, she said, "I never heard of that story." So, you know, you don't know what to believe about these things. At some point, they just fade into the past. But there was a story about somebody having passed away, and there was some tradition about leaving out a bowl of water and a towel because they had to wash their hands of this earth. And the story, as the story goes, whoever the relative's spouse was, she left out the bowl of water and the towel, and sure enough, in the morning, there was water dripped all over the place. The towel was wet.
That's something. I've never heard that before.
Pretty crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I really I think it's of questionable provenance, if you will, since nobody who's of that age can remember anything about it. I can't recall where it came from, but
fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. All right. All right. Well, that's what, Aaron?
I guess to kind of round it out, like I haven't like, and that's what's always kind of interesting to me is like, because I've never really had anything either, like anything like crazy happen, but like I feel like I'm always kind of like a little bit receptive to it, and I feel like there's that point of like that, just like genuine curiosity about it, but nothing that I can relate to is anything other than like like coincidence or whatever. Like, and there's been a few stories about like even like the house we live in now that like there's just certain things that like I don't know if it's fully true, and for two, like it's I guess it hasn't really been something I've like investigated because I still live here. And like it's just there's just that element to it of like I don't know how much I want to figure out.
Yeah. Yeah, the last place I want to do a paranormal investigation is the place I live.
Yes, yeah. So
some things you don't want to know, huh?
Yeah, I don't want to find something here. And there's been a couple times where I was like, was that something? Nah, we're just gonna ignore that.
Yeah.
There was something. What?
I was going to ask a question. Did you? I'm noticing that we're just past the solstice.
Yes.
And the solstice is, of course, the darkest day of the year.
Yes.
And your show is Lost in the Dark. That must be like your big holiday each year.
Not until now.
Not until
it's about to be.
Now that you pointed out.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
It's gonna be a yearly thing now. Dad just gave us a new bit. That's brilliant. There was though, I will say, I see. I'm someone that I don't. I go into a lot of these places. I do a lot of these investigations. I've been to a lot of places, locked in overnight and stuff. I'm someone that I do not feel like I am extra sensitive to anything on that level in any way. I really don't. But I look for it, and I will say actually my first two craziest ghost experiences that I still remember to this day took place at our first house in East Lansing on Chartwell. Yeah. I there was one time, I don't know if you remember, when I was in the room, it was still when I was upstairs, in the room upstairs. I was trying to fall asleep one night, and it was textbook Grandma Megacy's story. I heard and if you remember, Dad, that upstairs was entirely, every room in the hallway everything was carpeted.
Yes.
Everything was carpeted.
Yeah.
One night I'm in my room and in the hallway, I hear a cowboy boot hitting a wooden floor in the hallway. I hear that kind of footstep. I swear to God.
I
swear to God.
this.
That is
Yikes.
100%. I heard that. Cowboy boots hit. I was frozen in fear. And after it stopped, I ran into your guys' room. So you probably don't even remember it. But I swear to God, I heard cowboy boot style boots hitting a wooden floor in that upstairs hallway. Swear to God. And then at one point, when I was in high school and I was in the room in the basement, you'll remember how we how the whole basement was set up and where like the cat stuff was.
Yeah. Yeah.
And how we had like that, there was that one dresser along the left wall with the mirror on it. Yeah. So we always kept the light on over the cat stuff, and it was kind of a U-turn into my room from there. And so that light would bounce off of that mirror that was on the left side and cast a light shadow into my room. There was one day where I got up for high school, 7 o'clock in the morning, dark outside still. And
still haven't forgiven them for making you go to school that early.
Right. Yeah. Oh, I'm still angry every day. And I swear to God, there was like a shadow like that. Okay. So the light being on by the cats bounced off the mirror, cast a little sliver of light into my bedroom on the wall. One morning, I come back downstairs to get dressed after taking a shower. I'm putting my clothes on, getting ready for school, and I see a shadow pass by that mirror. And I'm like, what the hell was that? And I test it. I look at it and I test it. The only possible way a shadow passes by that mirror is if someone almost exactly my height walks by it. There's no way a cat could have done it. There's nothing they could have stood on. There's no way like a shadow passed by that. The only way light is being blocked by that is if a figure my size is passing by that doorway. And yeah, those are the two experiences I had in that house that I will never forget. I don't think there was anything crazy in that house, but there was something. There was something, I think.
All right.
Anyway, yeah. I don't know if I've ever told you those stories before, but I want
to.
No.
Yeah.
Well, now you're probably glad that you moved out of that house. So.
Yeah. And for the record, in the new house, nothing. There's nothing there. 100%. So
that's excellent news.
Yeah, there's not. You got nothing to worry about there. So.
For the record, I always like, even if it's like the new house or the old house, like I never really, it was, I never got any vibes of any weird shit going on.
Yeah,
so.
not yeah. The old house, whatever was in the old house, I don't think it was anything like weird or negative or bad or anything like that. It was just, I spotted it a couple times. That's all. It was something.
All right.
So yeah, those are two of the crazy experiences I've ever had, honestly. But all right, we've kept you for more than an hour. That's way too much. I will let you go. But Dad and Mom, of course, Mom's not here now. But Dad and Mom, this was one of the coolest things, one of the coolest episodes we've ever done, and it means the world to us that you guys support us in this podcast in the way you do. And support us just as people in what we do. Aaron and I are lucky enough to have some of the best parents in the world. And yeah, I love you guys so much. And it means the world to me that you guys are finally on the podcast.
Well, it's been a delight.
And
Give us a yell anytime. We're happy to do this.
And we will definitely be having you back on in the future. Absolutely.
We'll be coming from the newly restored East Lansing studio.
There we go. There we go. Your arm just disappears.
I just wanted to say, like, from like even when we just started like hanging out or whatever, like any time I've always been over, it's been like, super like just you guys are super welcoming and stuff, and like, I just want to say, like, I just I always appreciate that, and just I we've packed your house a few times with some people that like you didn't really know, and like I don't know, like, just thank you, really, like.
No worries. And Aaron, your family, you're always welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, I always feel like it. So.
And that's
Merry Christmas, fellas.
Yeah, you too.
Merry Christmas,
Merry
Dad.
Christmas.
And this episode might be the best thing we've ever done. This episode is gonna mean more to me and Aaron than almost any other we've ever done. So thank you so much for being on, and we will definitely have you back on. And love you, Pops. Thank you so much.
Love
Merry
you too.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Bye-bye.
All right. Well, I'm gonna log out of this recording and then we'll go from there. But yeah, thank you so much for being on, and thank you. Like I can't remember if I mentioned this earlier already or not, but like, yeah, I did. I know I did. Without you guys, this podcast never happens. Without you guys just randomly buying me that microphone a few years ago, now we've evolved into all this, and it's just and without this podcast, I don't know if I would have made it through 2020 at all. Like, this podcast has kept me going. So yeah, it just means the world to me, and I can never tell you how much I love you. So thank you so much, and you guys will definitely be back on. But until next time, that's it, everybody. Big round of applause for my parents, Burton and Chris. Burton the third, I'm the fourth, and yes, and they will be back on. But love you, Dad, and thank you so much.
Bye-bye.